And we are live. Peely is live in her Coffee with Aloha hat, and I'm here.
How are you? I'm here. I'm good.
Good.
I'm actually really good.
I'm Jason.
I'm drinking. I'm Peely.
Peely drinking coffee with a Coffee with Aloha hat. This is second cup of coffee. Happy Tuesday. We are going to get right into this because we know that today's topic is time. So we want to make the best use of today's time, your time, and everything else. Me. All right, so we are live. Second cup of coffee. Here we are talking about time. So, yeah, we got the kids downstairs playing, being active, eating a ton because all the doors, all the cabinets were open, refrigerator was open when we went downstairs. There's food everywhere. So, I don't know if there was a bear eating downstairs or what.
Our children are bears.
They are. They are.
Little bears.
They are. I think Luke ate 2 boxes of macaroni and cheese. Tried to. Which I prevented because he's 5. And I thought if you're 6, I would have let you do this, but this might be a heavy undertaking for a 5-year-old. But wow, that was interesting. But we are here. So
time is an emotion. I learned this past weekend, and it makes so much sense. So time is an emotion. How you feel about time is actually how much time do you actually have. So how many of you out there in listener land and Facebook land and YouTube land, on podcasts, wherever you're listening to
and
this,
Instagram land and other lands that aren't.
How do you feel about time? Do you feel like you have enough? Do you feel that you never have enough? So you feel about time. Time is relevant. What do you think?
Well, I'm just thinking on a kid's perspective, it's when stuff they want to do, there's not enough time to get it done. And when stuff they don't want to do, it's taking too long.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
a perfect example.
That's how so many of us live our lives. When it's something that we really want to do, that we're getting into, that, for instance, I was planning something that I'm really excited about before I hopped on here, and Jason he was like, Peely, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, look at the time. The time went by so quickly. But if it's something that you're dreading, or you don't want to do, or you hate the steps and you just don't want, like traffic, for instance. Oh my goodness, traffic. Even though you're in traffic for maybe a half an hour, maybe even an hour to 2 hours if you live in California, that 405, yeah. It seems to just take forever. And I'm not saying like get in your car, jump into traffic and be like, yay, traffic. Fill it with something that takes your life to the next step. Anyway, I digress.
Well, one of the big things about actually driving a lot when I was doing a lot with the construction was that I used that time to listen to podcasts. It almost became like the car university, right? Yes. So mobile university, right? But I was able to digest so much, right? Because I was taking in things that were going to help me propel forward, right? It wasn't just a bunch of noise that could fill. And sure, it's great to have that within the portions too, proportion of your day too. But using time efficiently can really get the most out of it. I mean, yesterday I felt like I know we had a great day. I mean, we got a lot done in the daytime. We got what we need to do. We got through our tasks. We got through our power tasks, our critical tasks. We got our workouts in. Then we ended up taking the kids to the pool, got back. They had dinner. Then we took them on a bike ride. Mm-hmm. Then I got in and got my workout in. I mean, that's a pretty dynamic day right there. And I stopped wearing a watch. Peely's doing great with it. And I think the coolest thing with Peely wearing a watch is that I hear beeping all the time. So it's me knowing where Peely is, but also knowing where her phone is, which used to be two things that were not losing Peely, but the phone used to be an interesting thing, an interesting thought of where that was, which is fine. However, we digress back to it. That's one of the cool things about a watch, but I was getting pinged all the time with watches and it was driving me nuts, right? I don't want to, if I'm into something, I don't want to be pulled out by things dinging me all the time on a watch. So I took it off because I just had to get to a point here where I had to really put the focus into the time I had and make the best use of it because I'm going to be productive with the time I had. And so the thought was, I just came off an interview with Josh Carey, and one of the things you talked about is he focused on death.
Hi, Josh.
hey, Josh, he focused on death. And why that may sound morbid, it was more that, okay, we are all going to die. There's nothing that's come up that's changed that reaction yet, that this is something that's part of life. So should I worry about it and waste my time, or be most productive in the time I have? Because death could come at so many uncertain times. So why not fulfill my days with the best and highest use of my time, instead of worrying about what if, what could be?
And it's really just having faith, especially right now with COVID. I mean, how many of you are still afraid to go outside? Just this fear of like dying because of this dreadful thing that's happening to all of us. This pandemic that's affecting the entire world. And it is affecting our spirits. It's affecting our mindsets. It's affecting our physicality. I mean, I talk to so many people and they're just like, I just don't have the time to do all these things, or I have all this time. And it's like time. Yep. But on top of that, there's this fear. So Tony Robbins was saying, I was listening to Tony Robbins and Andy Frisella, two totally different mindsets. They agree on a couple of things. So listening to both of the podcasts in the same day was a little mind splitting, but they agree on one thing, that Andy says, I'm tired of the fear. I'm tired of somebody telling me that I have to be afraid of this thing. And Tony talks about it in the way of having faith. Having faith, for instance, you get in your car. We were talking about traffic earlier. You get in your car, you drive away. Who's to say somebody's not going to swerve and go past the yellow line and hit you? Who's to say that you're going to, I don't know, you take your mind off the road for a second and a deer walks past and your car flips? Who's to say that's not going to happen? Do we just stay home? Do we not go out? Do we not jump in our cars and go visit people? I mean, are we just going to stay home? No, you have this sort of faith that I'm going to stay on my side of the road and you're going to stay on your side of the road, and we're going to drive and we're going to get there. But we know there's a little tickling in the back of our head that, we're kind of putting our faith in the thousands of people that we will be driving by, depending on where you're going, that they too are having faith that I'm going to do the right thing and they're going to do the right thing. So why be afraid? The fear is taking our time away. So getting back to time. Time is an emotion. We feel about time. I feel like I don't have enough time. I feel like I have a lot of time. I feel like this is taking too much time. It is a feeling. So if we change that feeling, anytime you think that, oh, I can't do this because I don't have the time, or I'm too old, or I'm too young. If you're putting a timestamp on something, make sure it's a good timestamp. Say to yourself, okay, for instance, if you want to get into real estate, or whatever it is you want to go into, and you're like, I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I don't have enough time to do it because I have to go work at my 9-to-5 job. Switch that mindset. You have the choice to make the time. Make it. If you really want something, you have a 9-to-5 job. Once you're done at that job, put your children to bed. If you don't have children, do what you need to do, and then make the time. Sleep an hour less. Get in that education. Get in what you need to do. So there is feeling about time, and then there is the actual making time. And in order to make time, you have to have a positive mindset about it.
So the one thing we can all agree on is that we can't predict the future, right? So things change that are outside of our control, and that's fine. That's the uncertainty of life. But instead of assuming that uncertainty is bad, why not look at it as, say, this could be good? So Gary Vee made a point here where he said, you could have been locked in home and it could have prevented you from getting in a 10-car pileup and dying because you weren't in traffic, right? Well, you just think of that narrative. Well, you can't predict that. You don't know that's going to happen, but that is a possibility out there. So there's also the possibility that you can do great things now, right? But putting your mindset into the mode of, okay, how can I change the narrative to label the bad emotion that I'm having, saying it, sitting with it, as Josh Carey spoke about, recognizing it, and then implementing the new plan of how I'm going to deal with that emotion and turn that around and find the positivity in it. So if I'm feeling sad or depressed, okay, I see it, I recognize it, I understand you, sadness, I understand you, depression, I'm living with you, and now I have to find, using that sadness to find the good that can now overcome the sadness. And that may start with just getting a win on your day. So chalking something up with getting a win, or finding that one person you can talk to that can be your backbone, that can sit there with you each time you have that emotion, right? So you can start transitioning from your environment that's putting you in that state of sadness or that state of emotion, that you can call up Jason and Peely and say, hey, just not feeling this right now. Just got any words of wisdom? And it might that we don't, but just the comforting level of us sitting there with you may give you that environment that you can now find the goodness in your day, right? And take the energy off ourselves and put forward where it can connect. And we can find that with, having children, finding that special person, finding something that we love in our life, like fitness, or I don't know, kayaking, or I don't know where kayaking came from. I like kayaking. I don't know the last time we went, but the kids want to go. I do know the last time we were up in Maine, right?
Yes.
So then that can go on time too. One of the coolest things about being in Maine, back to the time scenario, is that all of a sudden, have stuff that I still have to get done here in while we're away, right? Because even when I go to Hawaii, I get up early. I do things that are part of my commitments. But here we go, find ourselves in Maine. And I guess the one thing maybe I didn't dial into was that there's no interconnection for at least 30 minutes away. So
it's an hour away. And we had 2 closings happening.
Yep. So we had a lot going on, and we're in magical Maine, and here it is. But we just said, okay, I can either stress about this and, oh no, panic, blow everything up. Or when we were out there, we'd say, okay, we have to rely on our teams, and we're just going to commit to the time. We're having an awesome time, put it all forth. And then each day we drive down into the town, which was, I guess, civilization, and use civilization to have the town there. And then on that, hey, Jacob, and use that to our advantage and say, okay, let's get that work done. Okay, now back to family time and being in isolation. And you know what? That was the awesomest thing ever. There's one right there.
I'll be right
Time back. Is what the kiddo needs right now. So when you are looking at yourself and looking at your focus in your environment, are you assuming that time's bad, so the rest of this time is going to be good? Or are you looking at it into the positive environment? Are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Back. So the kiddos have come down from the rafters.
No, they're still swinging there. I'm just making sure that they had their harnesses on. Yeah. Anywho, oh, look, Greg Scott says a book he suggests is Limitless by Jim Quick. Great book. Yeah, he also says keep everything simple. And the
song Florida Georgia. Well, Florida Georgia line is I think that's correct, because it's much of my country knowledge may have just exceeded me here, that I'm going to roll with it. But thanks, Craig. That's awesome. So again, and it can be, you find that power in a book, you find that power in a song, you find those points that can continue to move you forward, so you can connect back with using the day, right? These days are put together where if the clocks were taken away and everything else, and you weren't dictated by something that's ticking away and feeling that pressure, tick tock, and it's moving along, I'm out of time. Well, how would your life change? What would that change about it? If you weren't working the 9 to 5, imagine that term didn't exist. What would that mean to your day? And now saying, okay, how can I find the day and use time as just a tool that's really in my tool belt?
So what are some steps, some actionable steps that we can give our listeners to change their feeling about time?
I always go back to The Rock and Oprah, who are doing 9,000 things, right? So Rock is right now quarantining, yet he's in Maui shooting a movie, and he's in India shooting a tequila commercial, and he's working out somewhere in the Midwest, all while talking on a podcast, right? The dude has 24 hours just like us, but he's doing all that.
And he has children.
And keeping a positive attitude about it, because that's what he's doing. You could say, okay, cool. Yeah, he's got a team. He's got all these other built around. Yeah, sure. But do you think it gets easier the more he's got to do, or harder, right? I'm sure. Imagine having someone need you or want you or trying to pull you in every different direction, no matter what team you have. And you have to use your time efficiently to have your fulfilling life. And to me, he looks happy.
I was just going to say the second, let's go for 5.
Yeah, I was going to say, is there anybody who doesn't like The Rock?
Exactly. Yeah. I was just thinking about The Rock's smile. So put that smile with something I just learned from Tony Robbins is when you have this like disagreeable thought or feeling, put it into like a baby's tantrum or some like funny face. So like, for instance, the term, I don't have enough time. You're like, that's practically ingrained. I know that has been ingrained in me in the past. So what I learned from Tony was just like, put on a funny face and go, I don't have enough time. And like, look at yourself in the mirror and see how silly that is. It's silly. It's a silly thing to think about. We have as much time as we need. So after you do that, I don't have enough time, or like smile really big when you say it, because it's not true. And then go back and look at yourself in the mirror or meditate on this. I have all the time that I need. I have all the time that I need. I have all the time that I need. And then number 3, make it so.
Make it so. That's my number 3.
That's your number 3.
Make it so. Well, so, okay, you want make it so? Get the things that have to be done early, right? Just get them out of the way, because now the day is yours, right? If you can get things done, and we all have our list, but on that list, what is really having to get done? What do you really need to get done to propel you forward? And there's 3 things there or 4 things there, great. But there's 73 things on there that do not need to happen. So be realistic with ourselves, get the stuff done, and use that time to get it done. And so here's Jacob giving some context. I don't have enough time. Exactly. But use that time to say, I'm going to get the important things done, so the rest of the day is mine. I'm taking my time back. Mine.
Take your time back. So that was number 3. Number 4, and I know I've said this before, schedule. You need to schedule. If you need help, and if you need to know how to schedule, or if you need like some guidance in scheduling, text us. Number's right over there. Text me and Jason, and I will give you exactly what I use to schedule.
Yeah, we're psyched for our community platform here. So we've got a ton of fun stuff going on there. 908-224-6876. Hit us up there. And so we have number 5. Mm-hmm. Number 5 right there with time. Number 5? Actually, if you want me, I can take over this one. Number 5, you got it. Go.
Number 5 is something else I learned from Tony. Once you make that decision to take your time back, don't leave that decision. And I'm going to mangle the quote. Somebody else knows better than I do. Don't leave the scene of that decision without taking action. So with what you're learning right now, use this time to take action. Jason, I will give you step after step after step to up-level your life, to live a fit, rich life. But unless you grab it and take the action, we are just going to keep on hitting you with steps. So grab one of those steps, which one it is. This is live on Facebook. Go back and hit that button to go back and listen to the entire thing, listen to those steps, and at least grab onto one. Even if it's just looking in the mirror, giving yourself a funny face, and telling yourself how silly not having enough time is.
Yeah, and Charles Butler, who we're psyched to talk with him and Paul Getter tomorrow. Awesome. If it's not scheduled, it's not real.
It is not scheduled. It is not real. Yeah. That is number 6. Thank you, Charles, for number 6. If it's not scheduled, it is not real.
All right. So that is pretty good. We passed our 15-minute mark where your workout is halfway done. But for this point, we always run over because we're saying, let's just do a little bit more. Let's just take that one extra step, do that one extra rep, just run that little bit extra right there. Right. And for that is an awesome place to wrap this up. We will be back tomorrow.
Same time. Same bat channel.
Same place. Here, second cup of coffee. Thank you for everyone. Again, go over, text us, 908-224-6876. Got a ton of new subscribers over there on YouTube. Had a massive video over there with Dr. Chu. If you've not checked that one out yet.
Check that one out.
Wow. That's what I got today. You got anything else?
That's what I got today.
All right. So thank you, everyone. This has been awesome. We shall see you
lamp of everything.
So we will say bye.